Hello and welcome to Mandarin Slang Guide, MSG, the Chinese learning podcast that tastes great and probably isn't all that bad for you. I'm Joshua Ogden Davis, and I'm here to bring you the most delicious Chinese slang words that aren't in your textbook and the stories behind them. China is changing quickly, and as society changes, everyone has to reconsider their role, even the people who have traditionally been at the top of society. For example, men, like me. And while some are busy trying to shore up male dominance, others are seeking a healthier balance. And that's where today's guest comes in, Steve Shi. Hi, Steve.
Hello, Josh.
Steve is a psychotherapist who is using his work and his podcasts to help men break out of the roles that society has built for them and learn to be themselves. I sat down with Steve in his home, and by the way, we're using his equipment for this, and I'm not 100% used to it, so my voice will sound a bit weird at times. Sorry about that. Hope you can forgive me. And we talked about some of his work, and then we talked about some of the most common words used to describe personalities in Chinese. Those words were 拧巴, indecisive, 拧巴; 厚道, virtuous or acceptable behavior, 厚道; 老好人, someone who is so nice that they're kind of a pushover, 老好人; and 实在, just kind of a solid, dependable person, 实在. Now, we'll get to that vocab in a minute, but first, I asked Steve about the state of Chinese masculinity, specifically about his podcast aimed at modern Chinese men called Manly, wherein the li is the Chinese character li, meaning to establish or to stand upright. I'm very curious about the origins of Manly.
Yeah.
Did you start that because you felt that there was a need, that there was a gap that wasn't being filled?
Yes, there's a lot of reasons. Because for me personally, I've been, I went through many years of struggling with my own sort of, masculinity, issues with my father, and issues with what it means to be a man and what it means to be a Chinese man. Mm-hmm. And also see that in China, this is a very huge issue because our society overall, I think, is very sexist. Yeah. Traditionally, we're very sexist society. Uh-huh. Right now, there's this whole cultural landscape is changing, but it's mostly the women that are doing this type of work. Mostly the women that are engaging in conversations regarding gender and sexism and mm-hmm. gender stereotypes. Mm-hmm. There's very few men that are participating, and also when women are talking, they're mostly talking about their sufferings, their problems, their challenges. Mm-hmm. But there's very little conversation on what Chinese men are going through. Because traditionally, I think men are very used to what's called the dominant masculinity. Mm-hmm. That's the traditional role that men play, right?
Is that what you would call 大男主义?
大男子主义.
大男子主义.
Yeah.
So 男子 being a 男 meaning male, 子 meaning a person or a son. 主义 meaning an ism. Yeah. So 大男, big man. 大男子主义, big manism, manlyism.
Yeah. So you as you can tell from the the label, it pretty much means that men are bigger or they are more dominant, more important than women. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's failing in the current society, because we're in a postmodern society now. Traditions are fading, they're going away, they're no longer working, which means Chinese men are having a lot of problems with how they should behave, how they should lead their lives, and how they should interact with other people. From my perspective, we have to have that conversation. We have to talk about how men can evolve psychologically, emotionally, so that they can work better with women and everybody. So that's kind of the original motivation for this show. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Toxic masculinity is something that we talk about in the West as well. I mean,
Sure.
These ideas of men thinking that they have to be a certain thing and they can't show weakness, et cetera, et cetera. You're someone who studied abroad and is now practicing here in China. Do you feel that this functions differently? What are the differences between the masculinity that Chinese men are struggling with and that Canadian or American men are struggling with?
I think the commonality is absolutely, the vulnerability part, because for Chinese men, we have this saying, 男儿有泪不轻弹. If there's tears in your eyes, you don't shed it very easily. So traditionally, like Chinese men are definitely encouraged not to show weaknesses. But in terms of cultural differences, I think because Chinese culture is more of a collectivistic culture, so where our identities and our lifestyles are more defined by our social networks and you know, our collective goals. So then the problem becomes you're not a complete person. You're a tool.
Right.
You know, we actually talk a lot about that in the Chinese context, where Chinese men become tools. And you're not allowed to be yourself, you know. And I definitely believe like people are very, very different. Every individual is unique, and we should all have the rights and the freedom to be who we are. So like some men are very sensitive, some men are very emotional, some men are very creative or artistic, but they're not allowed to show that. You know, one of the most classic scenario is, you know, whenever you have a newborn baby in the house, it's always the wife and the parents, the wife's mom or the husband's mom taking care of the baby, and the man would just sit you know, somewhere away from the baby, just standing aside and just watching everything happen, because he has no clue what to do with the baby. He doesn't know how to change diapers, and he doesn't think it's his responsibility, and he doesn't know how to even interact with the baby. Like I went to some of my friends' places, I see that like the man just standing there, looking as if that's an alien or something. So it's like, you know, it's you could say, oh, you know, this is sexism, this is gender stereotype, men are taking advantage of this or not doing their job, you know. But I think men are victims here too, because they lose the opportunity to establish intimacy with the family, with the kids. And what happens when you grow up, when the kids grow up, is you're not that intimate with your kids, you know. And when I talk to a lot of my clients who are in their mid-20s to mid-30s, mostly women, they tell me the same story. They're not that close with their fathers. And you can see their fathers want to be close, but they don't know how to show that need for intimacy, because they just know how to be a father, but they don't know how to be a friend, how to be someone that you can trust and talk to. So so that's really sad. You know, that means a lot of Chinese men will live in silent desperation and isolation, you know. So I don't want to see that happening to a lot of men in my generation.
You're working hard to counteract that and provide support where you can, both online and offline. Are you optimistic?
Well, I mean, China is such a big country, and it's so complicated. So I can only reach out to a small, very, very small, you know, percentage of the population. But, you know, doing what I can, I think that's the kind of mentality you have. You have to have when you're facing such a huge population, you know. Otherwise, nobody will do anything. We'll just sit around, you know, be like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter anyways.
I am extremely pleased to be able to interview you as a psychotherapist. You as psychotherapist, not me as psychotherapist. And we had a little bit of a conversation about what sort of words we wanted to talk about. And what we arrived on was different personality types, which is perfect for me because I get to learn something. But let's run through these, and then we'll get to the conversation at the end. So the first one you sent me was nǐng ba.
Nǐng ba.
Oh, so it's the third tone?
Yeah, it's a third tone. Nǐng ba.
Hi, it's Josh from the editing room. Steve and I are about to go on a lengthy tangent about how words are formed in Chinese, and it takes us a shamefully long time to get around to telling you the definition of nǐng ba. So here it is. Nǐng ba means someone who is indecisive or vacillating, and sometimes even argumentative. So that's nǐng ba, indecisive. Okay, back to the tangent. Show. Okay.
So nǐng is like twist. Ba, I don't know how to explain nǐng ba.
I was curious about that. I'm not really sure what this character ba means in isolation. It's sort of an odd choice, I think.
Because they're very often used together, so I don't tend to think about what that character means.
And that's one of the tricky things about Chinese words is that in English we put letters together to make a word. But in Chinese, characters, maybe one character is a word by itself. Maybe two characters together is a word. In rare circumstances, three or more could be thought of as being one word. But if you put two characters together to make a word, these characters also have meanings aside from that word. And sometimes they bring those meanings to that word, and sometimes not so much. And so this combination, 拧巴, I'm also confused about what ba is doing here.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. I think that also highlights the cultural difference between the Western and Eastern culture, which is that the Chinese culture is more collectivistic, so it's more contextual. So if when we use certain characters or when we're talking about certain things, we always put it in context. Like if you read Chinese poems, they're always like in English poems you're talking about, or literature, you're talking about very specific things, like specific scenarios. You give a very clear picture of what it looks like, or what it feels like. But for Chinese, we always talk about the more vague and general feeling, like say if I want to talk about how I miss my family, I don't talk about my family. I talk about the moon that I can see from the a window of my room back home, or I talk about the maybe the mountains or the rivers that's flowing by. We're very indirect. We're very contextual. So when it comes to language, you also have that. We also have that habit, of putting everything in context. So for Chinese learners, it's very, very challenging.
Speaking of which, we talked about 拧巴 for about 2 or 3 minutes. We still haven't said what it means. What does it mean if you say somebody is 拧巴?
So 拧巴 would be it would be kind of like somebody who's very indecisive, who's very hesitant. But I do feel like, because all these words I gave you, they're very like we use them in daily conversation, right? So when you say somebody is very 拧巴, there's a slight tone of complaint. Like 你这个人怎么这么拧巴? Why are you so 拧巴? So it's kind of like you're complaining that you've been going back and forth about your decision for the past 2 hours and still no decision, and I get a little impatient and I say, why are you so 拧巴?
Yeah, I think 拧 is really the key here. 拧 means to twist or turn, and so this person their ideas are always twisting and turning. They can't choose one of them.
Yes.
So how would you use that in a sentence? You just said 你这个人怎么这么拧巴? Let's do a simpler one. Could you do say, for example, he is very 拧巴? 他很拧巴.
Yeah, you could say that. Basically, this person is very 拧巴, 他很拧巴. So, but when we say that, there's always a very tiny negativity attached to it. Like, we don't say somebody's 拧巴in a positive way. We always say 这个人很拧巴, meaning that you better not talk to him because he will waste like 2 or 3 hours of your time and still no decision.
So 这个人很拧巴. 这个 means this one. 人 person. 很 is very. 拧巴 indecisive, vacillating. 这个人很拧巴. This person is very indecisive.
Yeah. And when we use that word, we're usually referring to the general propensity, the general personality, not like on specific things. You could still use that on specific issues, like, somebody who's hesitating if she should break up with the boyfriend. You could say, 你这个事儿你不要这么拧巴. You shouldn't be too 拧巴 about it.
这个事儿你不要这么拧巴. So 这个事儿 this thing 你不要 you shouldn't be 这么拧巴. So vacillating.
So but I think the more natural, the more common use is to describe the person's personality in general. Like this person is very 拧巴. 这个这个人的性格很拧巴, so this person's personality is very 拧巴.
So I couldn't say I feel 拧巴 about this.
No.
You could say I am 拧巴 as a person.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 拧巴, a vacillating person. The next one is I find quite poetic. 厚道.
厚道.
What does 厚道mean?
厚道 is it's definitely a very, very positive expression. I think in daily use, it's kind of like cool. Like
really?
That's not cool. 这不厚道，你这么做不厚道.
Really?
Like the way you are doing this is not very cool or not very 厚道.
Oh, the cool, not as in like, I wear great sunglasses and I know how to surf. Not that kind of cool, but like, hey, that's not acceptable. It's not appropriate.
Yeah, exactly.
What sentence did you say again just then?
就是你这么做不厚道.
你这么做不厚道.
Yeah.
So 你 you 这么 like this 做 do
or
不厚道 or act 不厚道 not thickly virtuous. So you in this way act not virtuous.
Yes.
你这么做不厚道.
Yeah. So we always use that to describe somebody's behavior. You know, your decision is not 厚道, your choice is not 厚道.
Right.
So it's different from 拧巴. 拧巴 is always for personality, but 厚道 is often to describe specific behaviors.
Right.
Yeah, but you can also say somebody is this person is very 厚道. You could say that, but I think most of the time we talk about specific behaviors.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you know, not cool, 不厚道.
Not cool. It's not acceptable. It's not appropriate. It's not 厚道.
Yeah.
So let's skip on to the next one. The next one is one of those tricksy words that uses words you already know in a different way, and it's 老好人. These three characters literally, 老 means old, 好 is good, and 人 is person.
Yes.
So 老好人 should be an old good person, but what is it really?
Well, as you can guess from the literal meaning, you know, it sounds kind of nice, you know, old good person, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's the same in English. If you think about somebody who's a good old guy, or who's a good old fellow, then he's probably not very opinionated. He's probably not very, he probably wouldn't stand up for himself. And that's basically the Chinese meaning. If you say somebody is a 老好人, then it's like somebody who's kind and generous and very giving, but at the same time, he's kind of like a pushover. You know, it's easy for people to take advantage of him.
Yeah.
So this word comes up very often when you're describing, I think especially in families, because you would hear the wife complaining to the husband, "Oh, why are you always a 老好人? You know, our family is poor, but you're always giving money to your sister, or your brother, or your parents.
Whoever asks you for money, you just give it because you are a 老好人."
Yes, exactly. So like you're doing good things for other people, but often at the cost of yourself or even your own family. So we use that word to describe that kind of behavior.
I'm definitely a 老好人. I'm just so nice all the time.
Yeah. And also, if you're a 老好人, then you barely complain. Like you don't complain. And you're always kind of quiet. You're just doing things. You're just this is actually a very typical description of the ideal male role in Chinese in Chinese society. Like you know, Chinese men are expected to be 老好人. You know, never complaining, always generous, always giving.
Yeah.
But, you know, always helping others. But sometimes, you know, you could compromise your own family.
All right, that's 老好人. And the fourth and last one is 实在. 实在, as I understand, the 实 to mean real. But the 在 means at or in a place. So 实在, I'm a little bit unclear about what this would mean.
I think this is the thing with, you know, English speakers, when they're learning Chinese, they always interpret things from the, you know, the literal meaning.
Right. Yeah.
But like, and it was a good try, but
you are excellent. Thanks for letting me down easy. You tried so hard on that. It was good.
Yeah, but I think 实在, when we use that to describe somebody's personality, you can't break it down. Like you can't reduce it into elements. They are used together to mean a specific meaning. So I can't tell you what 在 means in this specific word.
Right.
They have to be interpreted together. So when you say 实在, it means somebody who's reliable, who's solid, and who's always doing the things he's supposed to do, as opposed to somebody who's always talking but not doing their job. You know, so because especially at the workplace, you get that a lot. You know, there are people who are always blah blah blah, but then they don't do their work. They just you know, and the opposite of that is somebody who's very 实在.
Yeah. So I think in that case, the good translation would just be solid. This person is solid, dependable. Yeah. And we in that sense, it's like the same word as the Chinese word. This person gives you the feeling of being dependable. You can lean on them and they'll be there.
Yeah. Like if somebody thinks too much about showing off, about, you know, getting trophies and getting medals and getting recognitions rather than, you know, doing the real solid work, then that person's not very 实在.
They're focusing on imaginary things instead of real things.
Yeah.
So that's 实在, someone who is very solid. Okay, so these are the four words that we've got. I will quiz your Chinese. I will give you an English definition and you tell me the Chinese word for it, and then we'll jump into the conversation.
All right.
So someone who is generally vacillating or indecisive is
拧巴
Yeah, your pronunciation is so good. This word means behavior that is acceptable and appropriate and good. Cool, if you will.
Oh, jeez, I can't believe I'm forgetting.
Testing you was a joke, but I mean...
But this test turned out to be pretty hard.
Don't worry. I don't give grades. It was hold-on.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I can take that
my
out.
brain is dying for some reason. Yeah.
Oh, we've been talking for a while, and we've been switching back and forth between languages, which is always hard. Okay, this one means someone who is overly nice to the extent of being a pushover, perhaps.
老好人
老好人. And then someone who is solid.
Yeah, 实在
实在. Excellent. So let's jump into this conversation.
哎 Josh 真是个老好人
反正过于 nice 比不 nice 还要好吧
但他还是个很拧巴的人
虽然很拧巴但是也有优点吧
比如说
他是个实在的人 All right. So let's run through this sentence by sentence real quickly. The first sentence was...
哎 Josh 真是个老好人
Yeah. I is one of those just sort of expression words.
Yeah.
It's like, Josh 真是 really is 个老好人 really is a pushover. If you will. Josh 真是个老好人 And the next sentence was?
反正过于 nice 比不 nice 还要好吧
Yeah, this grammar is a little bit complicated, and I only have myself to blame because I wrote it. The first word, 反正, means however or anyway, really.
Anyway, yes.
I'm almost dismissing what came before. It's like, anyway, or, yeah. 过于 nice, to be 过于 nice is to be too nice.
Overly nice.
Overly nice,
Yeah.
right. Which is a 老好人, right?
Mm-hmm.
Overly nice. So 过于 means overly, and nice I put English in here because this is one of those words about personalities that Chinese people often say in English.
Yeah.
It's one of those words that sort of worked its way into the language as almost like a loan word. So 过于 nice is to be too nice. And then 比 means that I'm comparing what comes for the 比 and what comes after the 比.
Yeah.
So 过于 nice 比不 nice. 不 nice is not nice. Mm-hmm. So I'm comparing 过于 nice, too nice, with not nice. 过于 nice 比不 nice 还要好吧 So 还要 means still more. 好 is good. So the way you use this 比 is you say the first thing, 比, the second thing, and then you give the result. So 过于 nice 比不 nice还要好 So it's better to be overly nice than to be not nice.
Yes. Actually, the order is the same, but just that, grammatically, there's a little difference,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean the order as in the English order?
Yeah, because you're saying, it's better to be overly nice than to be, not nice. So you put overly nice at first, which is the better one, and you put not nice in second, which is the worst one. Yeah.
The difference is in English, I think we put the result first. We say it's better to be nice than not nice. Whereas in Chinese, we flip it around. We say overly nice compared to not nice is better.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, and the next sentence is?
但他还是个很拧巴的人。
但 但他还是
So 还是 means also.
Hi, it's Josh from the editing room. Steve just said 还是 means also, but that's just in this context. In other places it can mean or still. And I don't want to get bogged down in that grammar. I just wanted to make sure that you know that we know that 还是 doesn't always mean also. Okay? So don't at me. Now, back to the show.
So 还是 means also. So I'm counter arguing here. You're saying being too nice is not that bad. I'm not saying yeah, I know, but in addition to being 老好人, he also has this other negative trait, which is 很拧巴. So 但是他还是个很拧巴的人.
Yeah. 但是他 but he 还是个
or also
is 个很拧巴的人 a very 拧巴 person, a very vacillating person. 但他还是个很拧巴的人 and then
虽然很拧巴，但是也有优点吧。
虽然 even though 虽然很拧巴 even though he's very vacillating 但是 but 也有优点吧也有 means also have 优点 means good point so even though he's vacillating but he also has good points so 虽然很拧巴但是也有优点吧
Yeah, because like in Chinese, like you say 虽然但是 we use them together.
Right.
But I think in English you can't say even though but like that's
true. Yeah.
That's too excessive, right?
I got carried. Thank you for catching out my Chinese style English there, my Chinglish. Yeah. So in English we would just say even though he's vacillating, he still has good points.
Yeah.
But in Chinese you add the extra 但是 he still has good points.
Yeah.
虽然很拧巴但是也有优点吧
Yeah, like you really like we're really trying to emphasize the 但是 part, so we add that 但是 there. Yeah.
And then the next sentence is
比如说
for example, this one you hear a lot as a standalone 3 characters. If you say something and one of your friends says 比如说 that means they want you to give an example and maybe they doubt you. Maybe they think you can't give an example or they can't imagine what you mean by that. They say 比如说 something like
and
that.
then you reply by saying 对啊比如说什么什么什么什么
Yeah, so 对啊 is right. 比如说 so if I say there are many red colored elephants and you would say for example like for example the one I saw yesterday at the zoo.
Yes.
Yeah, so 比如说 is I had forgotten about that, but 比如说 is technically not a question. It's just like they're starting the sentence for example and expecting you to finish it. So 比如说比如说 that red elephant.
Yeah. So I think that like the usage is very similar to for example.
Yeah.
You could use that as a question or you could use that at the beginning of a sentence or beginning of your statement.
Yeah.
Your response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I replied to 比如说 with
他是个实在的人
Yeah. 他是个 he is a 实在的人 a solid person.
Yeah.
So this whole conversation is one person says, oh, Josh is a pushover. The other person says, well, it's better to be nice than to be mean. And the first person says, yeah, but he's also vacillating and indecisive. And the other person says, oh, maybe he's vacillating, but he has some good points. For example, he's solid. He gets the job done.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the conversation one more time in review, and we'll switch characters this time.
Okay.
Josh 真是个老好人
反正过于 nice 比不 nice 要好吧
但是他还是个很拧巴的人
虽然很拧巴但是也有优点吧
比如说
他是个实在的人
谢谢 Well, you're also a 实在的人 but I don't think you're a 老好人 I don't think that you are 拧巴 You are very 厚道and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, not only about the work that you do, but also helping us understand these personality words.
All right, it's my pleasure. It's actually very interesting, you know, when I'm thinking and speaking in English, but talking about Chinese, it gives me a sort of a different perspective on the language that I'm so used to. So this is definitely a very fun experience.
Well, I'm here for you.
All right.
That's all the MSG we have for you today. If you have any questions, or if you want some flashcards, find us on Facebook or Twitter. Just search Mandarin Slang Guide. If you want to join the WeChat group, shoot me an email at mandarinslangguide@gmail.com. Thanks again to Steve for talking with me about all this. We talked for a long time, and once again, I want to release the full interview as a standalone episode or as a patron perk or something. But that's a topic for another day. Thanks again to Himalaya for being not only a great place to listen to podcasts, but a great place to host your podcast for free, like I do. Himalaya! It's free! A special thanks this week to the patriarchy. You may be contemptible and worth destroying, but I must admit, I owe you a lot. And last but not least, thank you to you for listening. I love it when you listen to this podcast. So if you have any questions or any topics you want us to cover, just shoot me an email. Once again, that's mandarinslangguide@gmail.com. So, 再见, 再会, 再聊. See you next time. Bye-bye.